now go to the phones and welcome in an old friend who is getting ready to do a speaking show, the Carmine Appice Diaries. And we welcome Carmine Appice to talk about that. Carm, how are you, man?
Yeah, good. How you doing, Eddie? I've talked in a while. How are you?
I know, it's been a bit. Where are you, in Florida? Where are you at?
Yeah, we're in Florida, digging the nice weather. What's the temperature up there now in New York?
Don't rub it in, man. It's like I don't know. It's like 40 today. We had a little run of nice weather for a couple of days, but we're back to being right in the middle of winter here.
Yeah, we had some of the winter that you had that week when you were like down to zero. We had 38 degrees down here, and the trees are feeling it. Let's put it that way. Are
you a full-time Florida resident now, you and Leslie? Are you living there now? Is that home?
We are, but we still have the apartment in New York, so I'm coming up there on Thursday to do the speaking gig in New Jersey at the I don't even know I forgot the name of it, Lizzie something.
It's called Lizzie Rose Music Room, and it's in Tuckerton, New Jersey, and I know this not only because I'm looking at the press release, but also because I'm doing it myself on March 18th in the afternoon. So you're doing it this coming Friday, and again, it's South Jersey, Tuckerton. Have you done speaking shows before, Carm?
No, I did one down in Florida to test it out. I did this place called the Bogart Box. It was like a comedy theater. It was like 80, 90 seats, and I sold it out. And we added another day, so altogether I had 100 and something people come to it just to see if it would work, and the reaction was great, So for me, it's like almost doing like a drum clinic, but it isn't a drum clinic. Instead of teaching, I'm talking, telling stories, but I get the audience involved in it by having I have an animated intro that ends up with having 20 stories on the screen, and then when I come in, I get everybody clapping. I do a drumstick solo on my sticks, and then I let the people pick the actual stories.
Oh wow!
Interesting titles like John Lennon Eats Lasagna, and George Harrison Underarm Deodorant, and Why Is Hitler on My Album? Hunting with Ted Nugent. Just a lot of crazy story titles to get people interested in wow, what does that mean? And like hanging out with Hollywood royalty, stuff like what is that? What is that? So, when they raise their hand, I say, raise your hand if you want to hear a story. So they raise their hand, they pick a story, and somebody go hunting with Ted with a question mark in their voice, and it's really cool because I used to do that with clinics. I'd come out and I'd say to the audience, what do you want to know? Because I could teach you stuff that you don't want to know. So raise your hand, tell me what you want to know. And then somebody will raise their hand and tell me what they want to know. So it's the same kind of vibe. And I make it funny, I crack jokes, and then at the end I play like a 7 or 8 minute drum solo that I get everybody involved in. And then we end it with merch and signing autographs and taking pictures and all that stuff. So it's really like an hour and 45 minutes all in. And it's a lot of fun. I said,
it's really
fun.
Yeah, it's real. I've done some of it before. I've done a bunch of these over the years myself. And like I said, I'll be doing it as well, same place in March. But the thing that what's really smart about how you're doing this is, look, this is my 40th year doing this. You started in the music industry as a musician in the 60s. So you've got way more years into it. And the challenge, Carm, when I've done it is like, You've got so much to talk about. You have even more than I do. You've got so many stories. You don't know what people want to hear and where to go. So it can become like a 4-hour thing if you don't have somebody kind of giving it some direction. So that's really cool. You're letting the audience give you the direction and kind of pick the greatest hits.
Yeah, which is really cool. And, these are the first 20 stories we came to do. And, and what's cool about this, every night it's different. I did it before with Leslie as my partner. She used to mediate. And I was doing the rock history kind of thing, and we had a PowerPoint presentation and all that. But I had to always make sure she was available. So I was trying to figure out a way to do it where I didn't have to do that. So I got the idea from Max Weinberg's Jukebox. He does that show where he goes into a venue and he puts up a bunch of songs, and the audience picks the songs that they play. my friend was at the show, and I knew we did it, but he said, "Wow, this is really cool." So I'm thinking to myself, how can I use that idea but make it different? And I thought about, the history of rock, but then I thought about storytelling instead, and call it the diaries. I have this whole intro on flash drive where the book is flying through the air, with I got classical music under it with me playing drums, and it's flying through the air, and it's filling up with pictures. Then it falls to the ground with a big splash, and then the book opens. You see different pictures of me with Rod and Ted and different things, and then it opens up and hand writes in the stories, and it says on the top, "Let's talk about." Then hand writes in all the stories, and then it comes full screen, And from that full screen, then Leslie goes, "Please welcome Carmine Appice," audio, and I come out and I get everybody clapping, and I do that, and it's like a real, it's a specialized show. It's not just someone walking out telling a story,
You've done this once so far, you said?
I did 2 days down here. We sold out the first day. They had a second day.
Now, when you did the two shows, when you've done the two shows so far, when you put those stories up on the screen and let people pick which one you're going to talk about, which one, is there a favorite already? Is there a greatest hit already that people are gravitating towards?
The John Lennon Eats Lasagna story is one everybody is curious about. And, maybe Hunting with Ted was another one. But one of my favorite ones is Fred Astaire and Gregory Peck story. That's a great story.
Well, I want to go, if you can share one with the audience just as a teaser. I think I know the John Lennon Lasagna one because I think it has to do with your brother, right?
It does, yeah. So let me tell you the Gregory Peck story, with Fred Astaire, and a lot of...
No, I want to hear... No, that's too old school for my audience. I want to hear the Lennon one. Tell the Lennon one.
All right, you want to hear the Lennon one. So basically, my brother met John Lennon. He was hanging out with him in New York at the record plant, and he told he asked him, "Do you like Italian food?" And he said, "Yeah." So he said, "My mother made Italian food for like Rod Stewart and Jeff Beck, and she makes a really good Italian food." He goes, "Yeah." So my brother said, "What would you like?" "I'd like maybe lasagna." So my mother made lasagna for him, and she never heard if he liked it or not. A few months later, we played 5 nights at the Garden with Rod Stewart. And at the end of those big shows, you always had a party. So John, and I think it was May Pang must have came to the show with him. It was 1979, and my mother came to the party with my father and said, "Isn't that John Lennon over there?" I said, "Yeah." And I had met him that day. It's the only time I met him. He says, "I made him lasagna. I never found out if he liked it." So I said, "Let's go ask him." So we went over to ask him, and so he says, "Yeah, I loved it. I loved it, Mr. Appice," or Appice at the time, whatever it was. And so my mother says, "Could I have my pan back?" And that was the pan my mother makes all the Italian food in,
Right.
So hilarious. I sat there like, oh my God, I can't believe she said that to John Lennon, John Lennon. And when I do that punchline, the whole place cracks up.
Well, yeah, because
I told that story,
Yes, well, your brother told me that story once, and the thing that's so great about it is, I think to really get that story, you have to have grown up in an Italian household, and I did. My mom is 100%, and I grew up in an Italian liquor deli as a kid, and the pan,
wow.
As you know, Carm, the pan that these great foods are created in takes on a life of its own, and it's so sacred.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's the pan, the pot, the wooden spoon, you've got to get it back. So I could imagine your mom. She couldn't care who it was. You need the pan back.
Yeah, I'd like the pan back. I was like embarrassed, but it's true. That was the pan that everything was made in. All the pasta and the wooden spoon. We used to get the wooden spoon, when we were bad. We used to,
Me too.
Spank with the wooden spoon. That's funny. I have in my house. I have a dish that my mother used to use. It's a turquoise bowl with white inside. It must be 65 years old, and we still have it. But But the pot, we never got the pot back. We never got the pan back, by the way.
You never got it back because my mom, to this day, my mom will cook like a pizza that she makes, but she makes it in this like it's white, but it's like it's been around for 100 years, so it's like chipped and everything, but it's this white heavy pan. And to this day, like just this past Christmas Eve, she'll bring the pizza with the foil over the top. Before you even finish it, she'll be like, just make sure I get the pan back. It's always about the pan. The fact that your mom hit up John Lennon for the pan is just classic, and I think even more relatable if you're Italian.
Yeah, it's really classic. It really is a classic story. But some of the other stories are great. There's Sly Stone story. We got stories about Jeff Beck. We got Jeff Beck and Rod Stewart, Ted Nugent. I mean, just my whole history is in there. But the great thing about it is every night is different. You don't get to tell all the stories. Maybe 8 or 9 of the stories. Yeah, and I don't really do questions. So, like the other night, it was a big night down here. Someone says, "I have a question." I go, "I don't take questions." And everybody cracked up laughing.
Right.
But she asked a question anyway. But the stories are classic. They go through. I lived them all, and it's just a lot of fun.
Was some of this inspired by your book?
Well, there's stories on the book. Like at the end of the solo, I say, look, a lot of people ask me about the Mud Shark story with Led Zeppelin. Unfortunately, I can't tell the story here because it's X-rated. But if you want to know the story, you can read it in my book at the merch table.
There you go. Push to the book. Right. Smart.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't, I specifically don't do that. But I got Led Zeppelin in there, like the night Led Zeppelin got booed off the stage. That creates interest, and I mean, it's just amazing. Look, I lived it. I've been blessed with a great career. I'm still doing stuff. I got a new King Kobra record coming out. I have a new instrumental record coming out. I got this is interesting. I'm doing a Cactus record with friends and influences of that people that influence and were friends of Cactus. I got, Rudy Sarzo. I got Dee Snider. I got Doug Pinnick, Ty Tabor, Joe Bonamassa, Warren Haynes, Ted Nugent, just an array of people playing. Richie Kotzon's on it. Billy Sheen's on it. It's like it's becoming a real unbelievable project. I'm producing and putting it all together, and I can't believe how great it's coming out. And I can't believe all the love for Cactus, because Cactus was one of the first, hard rock blues bands in the 70s, that a lot of people, Van Halen, were big fans of Cactus. As a matter of fact, that song Eruption was the beginning of a song that we had called Let Me Swim. It was an intro to the song we had, and they just extended it, and Hot to Teacher was just like our song Parchment Farm as far as the groove, and I knew there were big fans. As a matter of fact, when we put Vanilla Fudge together, Eddie called me up and said, "Hey, screw the Fudge, put Cactus back together." That was funny, But,
of all the bands,
I don't have those stories in there. You know what I mean? It's just so much I can put in.
Carmine, of all the bands you've been in, and you just rattled off a bunch of them, but that's not even all of them by any stretch, which is the one that you felt should have been bigger, that there's like the most unfinished business that you think more people should have known about or listened to?
Probably Blue Murder. Your favorite.
I'm with you on that. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
That was my favorite. And, we tried to get John out to do Blue Murder. I don't know what he's doing, but it never happened. I love John. I love his playing. I love Tony. Tony's on the instrumental album. Tony's on the Cactus album, and it's great. We actually, speaking of who's on who, we got Carlos Cavazzo is on the King Cobra record.
Wow.
And he plays tremendous on there. But, I'm having fun. I got a studio in the house here. If I didn't have the studio, I couldn't do anything, because it used to be I'd have to go to a studio, set up the drums, get a drum sound, then record. If I have to go back, I have to redo all that. Now I got the drums in the studio. They never move. I got a classic set of drums in there. with old bass drums, and they're mic'd up. I just walk in there. The air conditioning is all the same. The humidity is the same, so the drums don't change sound. So I can record something today and next week go in and fix a fill if I want to, you know. And I love it. Now I become Joe Engineer for my drums. You know, I never thought I'd be able to do that.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, on Blue Murder, when was the last time you talked to Sykes? Do you think he's just done?
I think he's done. I send him texts. I don't hear nothing back. You know, I don't know. Now, maybe he's pissed off at me for some reason. I don't know. But I talked to Tony. He hasn't heard from him either, you know. But,
yeah, no, I haven't heard from him in a while myself, and I used to talk to him. But he's kind of old school. I don't even know if he texts, believe it or not. I think he usually responds to email.
I've done that too. Tony said he just don't like the business now, the way the business is.
Right.
He'd rather do nothing. That's what Tony told me. So, but I mean, we can go play, man. I mean, when we rehearsed a few years ago, it was like magic, you know. And then it just didn't happen. But it was just tremendous, the three of us playing together again. It was really tight. We'd say, hey, let's play Valley of the Kings. We did it. And unfortunately, our keyboard player, Nick, passed away, you know. But, you know, we can get somebody else to play keyboard. But, I mean, I would love to do some shows with Sykes and Tony and, you know, and as a trio with a keyboard player. We used to call it the trio with depth, you know. And what did
you guys rehearse for? How long ago was that? Was that the idea of feeling things out to maybe do shows?
4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. Yeah, to do shows, you know. And
wow.
It just didn't happen, you know. And we had, when he got out of Thin Lizzy, that was supposed to be because we were going to do shows. And we had shows in Europe booked, but something happened with him and the management, or something happened. I forgot what it was. You know, so all the shows got blown out. We had some of the big festivals over there. And you know, that would have been the start of it. And he left Thin Lizzy, from what I understood, so we can do Blue Murder. Because Thin Lizzy was like, you know, he was in it for a while. He was doing stuff, but he didn't play on the big records, you know. But Blue Murder was his, you know. We created it. And it was something that I felt was never completed. You know, it was a great band. You know, unfortunately, when it came out, for some reason, it didn't do what it was supposed to do. And, you know, and then grunge came in and kind of killed the whole idea, you know.
You know, one other thing from just before Blue Murder, actually, from the 80s that I wanted to ask you about was you mentioned King Kobra. You mentioned you're doing another record with them. I know Shortino sings in the band now, right?
Right.
Why do you think that King Kobra wasn't bigger when you came out? I remember Ready to Strike, great record. Hunger was on there, great songs. And then the second record, if I remember, was way more commercial. Do you think that's what hurt you?
No, I think that what happened was this guy, Ray Tuscan, he was originally the radio promotion guy at Capitol Records. So he went to A&R, he signed us. They had another guy working radio, and they never got us on the radio that we needed or the video promotions that we needed to get it really strong. So the first album never really did what it was supposed to do. So Ray was still in A&R, and they said, you got to be more commercial. We need a single. We need a side of the album with singles. So that's what happened. So we figured, well, look, we got to listen to the record company or nothing's going to happen with the band. So we tried that, and that didn't work either. So then they realized it wasn't bands at the time. It was because Ray wasn't in the proper point where he should be at radio promotion. So you know, our album was done, was finished, and they moved back to radio promotion. And the first thing they signed was Poison. And you know what happened with Poison? They broke them wide open. And, you know, as far as I was concerned, you know, King Kobra was much better band. When they, you know, musician-wise anyway, you know, when they opened up for King Kobra on a show, you know, and somebody said to me, Poison took your guy's image. You know, I said, I don't know, you know, but they ended up happening, and King Kobra didn't. So then Mark Freed wanted to sing more commercial, and then we got Mark Tureen and all that whole blue, you know, crew in there, and then they left and started the Bullet Boys, And so I was left with David Michael Phillips, and we did that King Cobra 3 record, and then it was downhill, and then I think Blue Murder came along then,
Yeah, I didn't realize that Mark Torian was doing King Cobra prior to starting Bullet Boys. I didn't know that.
Yeah, we did a few gigs here and there. There's a record out on Cleopatra called The Lost Years that had demos that were done with Mark Torian and the Bullet Boys without the drummer. We had Vinny, Lonnie Vincent. I mean, I gave him the name Lonnie Vincent. His name was Lonnie Miller, and that's the same man. My manager was Alan Miller. I said, man, you got to change your name. You don't be the same name as the manager. So what's your middle name? He said, Vincent. How about Lonnie Vincent? I said, okay. So we went with Lonnie Vincent with him, and then there's other songs that never made it to a record, demos that recorded on 24 track with Mark Free on it, and there were other records that were recorded earlier with Mark Free that got us our original King Cobra deal.
That's
so
right, because I just remembered Mick Sueda was in both bands.
That's right. Mick Sueda was in King Cobra, and then he, Lonnie, and Mark left, got a drummer, and they had the Bullet Boys. And the guy
Jimmy
that signed
D'Anda,
them,
right.
a guy that signed him was King Cobra's merchandising guy. It gave us a big merchandise guy. He started managing them, got him a deal. That's why they left. So behind, unknowns to us, they were getting a deal while they were rehearsing with us.
Wow. Wow.
It was a whole drama back then. I was really pissed off at it. And after they went, got a gold record, I had a birthday party at my house, and Mick and the guys came to my house, and they gave me a Bullet Boys gold record for, to make up to be friends, I mean, I was still friends, but, it was a little bad taste. So they gave me that to try and clear the bad taste. And, so I'm still friends. I mean, we got Mick in on those two King Cobra records we did 2010 and 12. And he didn't like anything about what's going on with the Bullet Boys. I think he joined them again. And then they all left, and it's back I think it's only Mark Torian now.
Right. That's correct. They came back together with the original band. It lasted for about a year, and then now it's just Mark. And Mick has his own band now called the Hot Summers. It's actually really good, more of like a power pop thing, but he's doing something different.
Yeah, but he don't care because his actual job is he's in the union and paints for the movie union to do painting on sets and movies. He makes good money with that, from what I know.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
he's
cool.
just doing music is on the side,
Right, right.
I love Mick. Mick, everyone says that the first rap song was that one with Aerosmith and Run DMC. Before that, we had the second album had Home Street Home, which was a rock rap song. If you listen to that was before that, that Run DMC and Aerosmith. That was a rap song in rock,
Wow.
And it was a heavy riff with drums and a rap song that Mark Free did, and it was cool. And we used to do it on stage, and being Home Street Home, it's the lyric was talking about a guy that lived on the street. He went to L.A. to make it, never made it, and he's on the street, Home Street Home. We used to have Mark come out in like a bum's outfit, and he had a shopping cart filled with junk. He'd walk out on the stage with that and sing the song. It was a great show thing. People loved it,
Yeah. Hey, Carm, I got to run, but before I let you go, I wanted to ask you real quickly, how do you feel? Because I know both you and your brother went through some stuff with your shoulders or your arms. Historically, drummers, as they get older, they don't hit like they used to. They slow down. They can't play like they used to. It's a physical thing. How do you feel at this point in your career as far as playing? Because you're known for hitting so hard and that thunderous sound.
I still hit hard, but my singles are slower than they used to be, so I make it up with different combinations, that I do. But as you listen to, the King Cobra record that's coming out and the other record, the instrumental record, you'll hear a lot of energy on it. And Cactus, I did Parchment Farm at 243 beats per minute, which is pretty fast, and and I play it live, and there's no problem doing that stuff, you know. And you know, I go to the doctors, get checked out. My doctor said your heart's really strong, you know, and I try and work out and eat good, and I'm so far so good, you know.
Oh, good to
I'm
hear.
76 years old, man. I never thought I'd be still rocking at 76 years old. Last year we did a show, and after my drum solo, which went really well, Vinny came out, and my brother, we did a show together, and Vinny comes out and said, what about my brother, 75 years old, playing the drum solo like that? And everybody started cheering, you know, so I felt good. But, you know, look, I'm gonna play until I can't play anymore. That's why this year I'm going to play with King Kobra. I'm going to play with my instrumental band. I'm going to play with Cactus. I'm even going to do a Rod Stewart experience show and vanilla fudge and all of it, you know. And we do have a live Beck, Bogart Appice from 1971 coming out on Rhino. It's a brand new record with 7 new songs, and you know, live in Japan coming out as the 50th anniversary. You know, so
newly recorded songs. So you recorded new songs with Jeff Beck?
They were recorded in 1974 live.
Oh,
with Jeff. But there's new songs. They never came out. You know, so
wow, very cool.
Songs on it, and it's really good. I mixed it with Jeff's engineer in 1980. No, 20. What am I talking about? 2018. 4 years ago, I mixed it, and they were waiting. You know, Rhino was waiting for the 50th anniversary for it. You know, so that's right now, next year. Now it's 50th anniversary of the first album. So they have the live in Japan, which has so much energy, and this new album. And I'm doing most of the singing on this album with Tim Bogart, and Tim Bogart passed away. You know, so it's a unique album. So I got a lot of good stuff coming out, including the storytelling. Now, where's that place again?
You're in Tuckerton, New Jersey, which is a little bit north of Atlantic City. And the place is called Lizzie Rose Music Room. And if you want tickets to see Carmine do his speaking show this Friday night is the date. The website to go to is lizzierosemusic.com, spelled LIZZIEROSE music.com. And while you're there, you can pick up tickets to see me on a Saturday afternoon doing the same thing in March. March 18th is the date on that. So I hear it's a really cool little historic venue. I've not been there, but good luck to you on Friday. Hope it goes well.
Yeah, thank you, man. I'm looking forward to it because this is my third one. You know, the more I do, then it's, Saturday and Sunday I'm doing the APOP convention, you know, with the storytelling. You know what that
Where is that?
That's in the New York Hilton.
Oh, okay. I don't know about that.
In New York City. It's on Saturday and Sunday. Basically what it is all the promoters, all the theater owners, and all the agents in the business. It's a convention. So
okay.
I'm doing a 15-minute version of the show. And then we're going to go inside and we're going to meet with hopefully different people. I got my manager with me, and hopefully we'll put some old shows together. You know,
very cool.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man.
And then, okay, bro.
Enjoy yourself. Say hi to Leslie for me. Good luck at this gig on Friday, and I know I'll be talking to you soon.
Oh yeah, man. Take care. Cheers. Bye bye.
Yep. You too. See ya. There he goes, everybody. Carmine Appice checking in. Legendary drummer, a guy that's performance history goes back to the 60s. Vanilla Fudge, just a landmark record, came out late 60s, early 70s, and then obviously the stories and the history goes on and on from there. Just countless people that guy has played with, countless records that he's been on, and I can only imagine, you know, him getting up and telling some stories. That would be quite an undertaking because there's such a vast amount to talk about. Like I said, when I do it, you know, I got 40 years to talk about. Carmine's got 60 years to talk about just in his professional career about. So there's a lot. I think it's kind of cool how he's doing that, actually, where he's letting the people pick the topics. That's kind of cool. So if you're in South Jersey, Tuckerton, New Jersey, this Friday is where you can see Carm, the Lizzie Rose Music Room. And again, I'll be there in March on the 18th. Mine is in afternoon on a Saturday. I think it starts at 1:30. And what's cool about that venue is they all, you know, if you get a ticket, they all come with meet and greets and all of that too included. So should be fun. I'm looking forward to it in March, and hopefully Carm does well with it on Friday.